Jacob Torero from Yellow Black Sheep. I know it's been a while since I putting something out. It's been busy, I guess. Back to the matrix, back to the hamster wheel, you would say. And I have a bunch of videos from last road trip. It's actually almost a year now. It'll be interesting. I'll keep putting out content, the travel video, like it just this year, this month, because the road trip was last October and November, so it's almost 1 year, and it's been fast and crazy. Not much happening, just you know, the luck in life with the matrix. Not really, nothing's going on. But beside that, just quick update. Just working on saving money. Have good amount of saving now. Working for a tech company instead of living out of my van. Get some gold, Bitcoin, some cash ready. Planning to go to Europe next summer. After next summer. That's the plan, but I don't know how much longer I can take these wokeness and just the insane shit's going on in the West. But it's better for the long run because there's more money here. I have better saving, and it would guarantee a few years without a job, surviving without a job, live comfortably in Lisbon or maybe Prague. Prague probably costs a little bit more. So yeah, right now life is not super interesting, but I have my goal. I know why I'm doing it. Um, Another thing that I'm doing is instead of writing down your goal for every year, it's what you should already doing. But I've been doing. I put in a chapter title for each year, which make things more interesting. So this year, on my birthday, I put the title is building the base or getting the base ready. And when I'm 32, the next chapter I already have a title. It's the adventure begins. So right now, just getting ready, prepare for Europe, giving up my life a little bit. Not don't really have a life, working for a tech startup, and even the city dating is not the best. I try to make the best I could, but right now it's that. And after the last girl, the 22, super hot. I couldn't really go out and talk to girls so much after, because yeah, I didn't know why I was keep doing it. Having a goal, I already meet all of them. I have a goal. I wrote down goal of why I was doing it, the low level, the mid level, and the high level goal that I would recommend everyone to do is my low level goal. I just want to impress my friend, want to get laid, have a lot of girls. And the mid level is just be able to meeting people and getting dates, or just meet people in general everywhere I go, no matter which country I go to. I don't know anyone, but I can meet people, have dates, have girlfriends. And the higher level is just be able to inspire other men doing the same thing, and then help the guy that start out not as good as I do. And I believe I already hit those goals long time ago, and I didn't know why I was keep doing what I'm doing. So I would just automatically go for just harder and harder and harder girl, younger and harder. So you just go 7, 9 up, maybe 8, maybe 9, 10, so maybe younger. So when I got that 8, it hit me. Like, why I'm keep doing what I'm doing? There's no point. And it's lately been so hard for me going out. It's not I don't even have approach anxiety so much, but more of I couldn't even open my mouth to talk to girls because I guess like subconsciously like what's the point of all this? And I didn't really enjoy the sex with that age so much. So I guess I was more obsessing with getting better at games rather than anything else. I didn't think I was even enjoying sex with that one, with that age. The hardest guy I ever been with, and I didn't enjoy the sex. So this is kind of I'm in this place. I need to figure out what do I want, why am I doing what I'm doing, and should I keep going? I can't quit because I'm gonna become those black pills or MGTOW guy that angry at women. But if I just keep chasing women not knowing why, I also end up not very good. So I do recommend you guys write down the low, mid, and high level of why you're doing it, and then keep track of it. When you hit on your goals, make sure you have the next step. So otherwise, you're just gonna keep going for harder goals, and in the end, it's just empty. Just like my last podcast, I was in a pretty dark place actually. After sleeping with the hardest guy I ever been with, that's crazy. So yeah, still working through that. Still figuring out my next step. I've been beside the dating thing. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm saving money, where I'm going. I will have much better life in Europe. I will be much happier. But for the next 1 year, I just have to build up my skills, I'm gonna save up money, and just get ready to get remote jobs and everything. So tech remote job that would pay well. I can live in my van just like Tom and travel. So it's a little bit of a rant about my update here. But really, not much going on. Just go to work, go to the gym, maybe talk to a couple of sets, come back here all over again. So that, and the topic today is the loss of femininity and masculinity in the West. And you guys already know this. So many people already talking about this. It just girl become more like men, and men become more like women. So it's strange. And even I lived here for 10 years, I can see it getting worse and worse and worse, and exponentially worse. And what's the issues here? You can see girls just acting more like guys, and men don't need women. Instead of men and women, this men versus women, or left versus right. This I guess the best way for the matrix to control everything is just everybody angry at each other, fighting each other, so nobody stand up. Men also become more simp. Women become more, even the pretty one, when you talk to them, just the masculinity coming out from them, you can feel like it's a little bit not what turned you on. She can be just as hard as a Latina that grew up in Colombia. They could look exactly the same, but when you talk to two of them, you can sense it. It's hard to explain the femininity, but when you experience that in person, it changes your life. Take a sip of tea here. Last time I met a girl from my job, which I try to avoid talking to women at my company. She grew up in Colombia, and her femininity. She grew up and she lived in there for 10 years. She moved to the U.S., but her femininity is just so refreshing. And I haven't talked to any girl like this for a while, even though I've been going out and meeting her every day. But that femininity, it just like got me. And I was just having like a crazy crush over her, even though she's married. Yes, I tried anyway. Didn't work, but we went out to bar. We flew together. Just talking to her make you like, oh shit, this is what I want. This is what I need. I haven't had this for so long. I remember I kind of have it back in the day, but it's been gone for so long. I didn't even know that I'm missing it. So yeah, become more career focused. They just end up getting a dog, not care much about dating. They things that they don't need men, and the other on the other side, men just think, yeah, fuck the feminists. So and nobody end up happy, right? So the issues I wanted to go over the issues is how the loss of femininity, the loss of beauty in the West. Even if you've been going out gaming for the last 5-7 years, I don't know, but if you might have noticed the difference between the girls that you talk to, the vibe, the energy, they just dry off your soul, man. I can't feel it. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being negative because I'm back to the loop, the hamster wheel. But if you feel the same, leave a comment below, because I feel like it's kind of drying now with all the femininity. Let me know. So yeah, I'm not gonna go over so much about the issues because everybody already know. You're already aware of. If you're on social media, it's always pushing on both ends. So they're like a drama to attract people to this platform. The red pill versus the feminist. It's all over the place. You know what's going on. You can see it around you. Girl become more manly and guy become more simpy. So how does it affect men, right? How does it affect you in dating in general? Because the issues, everybody talking about it, everybody fighting about it, but how is it affecting you and men in general? First, it's like men starting to give up on dating, which slowly, it's already happened for a few years, but getting more and more exponentially. Giving up on dating, opt out of women for pornography and game, and video game, and even PUA. When you meet women, they not only meet women, when you get women, you don't see the beauty in them, you don't see the femininity in them, so there's no affection anymore. When you sleep with these girls, it's like rough in general. There's not much pleasure. You feel like drying and dying inside. There's no affection. Then you cannot feel the affection that you're looking for, because otherwise you would pay for sex, right? Why would you go out after this? This guy put in so much time and effort, getting rejection. Yeah, beside the skill you build up, but when you meet them and you start dating them, you don't get the femininity that you always wanted, consciously or subconsciously. You wanted it, you need it, because that's what make you feel alive. What keep you going? But it's not there anymore. And that not also that, the reason that it make men become more simpy is when girl become so masculine that they don't need you to provide and protect. Just the vibe and the energy in general. No, I'm not talking about like financially or physically, yes, but just the energy in general. So you don't feel like, or men don't feel like provide and protect for these women, because they kind of tough with the energy themselves. They don't need men. That's the culture and how the beliefs going on, and because that happens, now you don't feel like, I don't know if you ever go out with a very feminine girls or date feminine girls, like you feel more like a man. You feel like, I want to provide and protect her. If some guy show up, I will risk my life just to protect her, even if you just start dating her for a month. But if you start going out with the feminists that kind of like, I'm so empowered, I can take care of myself, etc. If a guy show up, you're like, do I want to risk my life for this girl? Like, you don't have an instinct that like, I'm gonna die for her, right? It's not like, yeah, you're a man, you're supposed to, but when consciously, right? But subconsciously, you kind of hesitate, or like you don't really care much about like this girl, but versus the kind of very very feminine, you still want to like protect her, and that's why men go to war, just to protect the women and the children. Like, I want to protect, because they're women, they might be women. I want to protect. I will go to war. I will die for them. That's make not only like that also make guy more masculine as well when girl become more feminine, because that's how the balance works. And right now, like, if would you go to war and die for the women in the West? Yeah, ask yourself that question. So, because that's how it's affecting men. Mm. And you also the average of the five people around you. So if everyone around you becomes simpy, you just slowly like adopting that energy, like unconsciously. Even though you're going out gaming, you do everything you could, but it's slowly getting you, like the frogs in the boiling water, just slowly getting you. So that's how it's affecting men, or how it has been affecting me in general. I don't feel the aliveness talking to girls here. I don't feel the camaraderie, the brotherhood, the men, the masculinity that I always wanted. Like, every man wanted. That's why we like to watch violent sport, like football and boxing. Like this violence and this, the masculinity is instilled in men, and we don't have it anymore. And everyone crave for it, even women. But consciously, we're being programmed not to, right? Yeah, that's everything going on around here. The West is going insane. I don't know how long I can take this just for money to go to Europe. Like, I might just give up and leave early in a few months. I don't know. But all of that said, what can we do in the meantime to retain the masculinity, but also not losing your mind, right? Because when femininity goes away, masculinity also gonna be destroyed by itself. Because there's no women, the men. What you're fighting for? What are you living for, right? So I have a couple of things that I draft out. I get this podcast for more for myself. Like, what can I do in the meantime so I don't go crazy? Just my soul don't dry it out with all the wokeness and all the crazy shit. So the first is accept the rareness of femininity and keep searching for it, and know that it will be worth it in the end when you find one. It's a lot harder now to find one, but it will be worth it. Just like me when I was starting and going out, like, I'm Asian, I have an accent, I'm not from here, I don't understand the dating culture. I need to talk to 10 girls just to get one number, and get 10 number or flake on maybe one date, and maybe 10 date will be one girl will be my girlfriend, which means I'd have to talk to 1,000 girls, like 10, 10, 10, 1,000 girls just to get one girlfriend versus the average white guys. So I'm like, yeah, but nothing else I can do, so I'm just going to go for it. I just accept the fact that I will have to do much more work just to get a little bit of result compared to average guys that grew up here. So that's how it got me here today. So yeah, accept that the femininity become rarer and rarer, but it will be worth it when you meet that one girl. And you probably already met her, talk to a girl like that's so feminine that just make it, I'm willing to risk on just to be with her. It will be worth it. So that's the first thing. Remind yourself of the goal, like what you want, why do you want it? You have the reason, what your reasons, why you're doing what you're doing, why you gaming, why you're meeting women, what you're looking for. Remind yourself that every day. It will help you keep going. Second thing is have more standard about these girls. In the past, when you're beginner, you just date any girl, just tolerate their wokeness, and just to get sex, or just to sleep with her, or just to practice, right? But if you get a little bit more intermediate, maybe have a little more standard, like, I don't tolerate this wokeness anymore. Last time I went out with a girl at 35, and all she cared talk about, like, oh, how women being oppressed, and how the college is not accepting enough black student, etc. Like, they dying inside. They are antidepressant with the dog. It's so obvious. Like, you can see this girl that over 30 with a dog. They definitely are antidepressant. They single for a reason, because no guy is good enough. They want they're like a 6 out of 10, but they want like a 10 out of 10 guys. Good money, interesting, good shape, and her dogs also have to like you, which is like insane. Like, how you like this is impossible for them to meet anyone, which is why they're single. But have a standard. Like, you don't have to tolerate these girls. Like, if you think they too woke, you can't take them. Like, just move on. Yeah, you know how to date and you know how to meet other girls. Just move on. You don't have to tolerate this shit. If you're a beginner, maybe stay around, try a little bit. But if you kind of have an option, just don't take it, even for sex. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth your masculinity, right? That, and then on that note, avoid dating older women. In the past, when I was 23, 10 years, almost 10 years ago, when I started dating a girl at 30, 32, they still fine. They still women. They still not as woke and as crazy now. They still have the femininity, and they single over 30 because they still don't want to fuck around. They want to have fun, etc. But most girls nowadays, this could be my opinion, I could be wrong, but most girls over 30 nowadays, when they don't have that much attention anymore, they lose the attention, they lose the validation, and they don't take care of their health, physical health, mental health, emotional health. Then they start blaming the system. Oh, man, it's so bad, system is so bad, so oppressive, and very negative. And they end up with a dog and Xanax. It's just so obvious. It's happening so much that you can just see it, right? So avoid dating older women. I think younger women usually less woke, not because they not being programmed. They still have to believe, oh, we got like empower women, feminist movement, LGBT plus, etc. But it's harder for them to be like, oh, I'm so oppressed because they have like 5 guys trying to take them out for dinner, pay for everything. They have 2 guys doing homeworks for them, and they can pick any guy to sleep with all day, and the other guy is still gonna hang around, take her to shopping, buy her dinner, doing her homework for her. So like she can't be like, oh, I'm so oppressed. She get all the attention, get all the validation, whatever she want. This guy light up doing it for her. So she can be like, I'm so oppressed. She cannot say it. So she can still, but yeah, she can still talk about it, but she don't really believe it unconsciously because she get all this stuff and she know these men have no option. That's why they light up for her. So she can be like, oh man, it's so oppressive. Man, get everything. This patriarchy, because women so oppressed. No, she experienced something totally opposite, right? Like even if she's an average girl, they're like guys, just all the friend zone guy, just waiting to do shit for her. So she can. It's very hard for her to believe that. Oh, I'm so oppressed. Women so oppressed in the West. Not until after she hit the wall of 30, 35, when she's like, oh, she can't fuck around anymore. She don't get the validation anymore. And now, very easy to get the excuse, oh, it's so oppressive. The system is so bad because you don't get what you wanted anymore when you were young, right? So that's why maybe go for younger girls. They less woke. They haven't been that bitter and yet at life. The wokeness haven't got them yet, but slowly they will, right? So that first thing. Second would be meeting international girls, women even more. Add them to try to meet girls that grew up from other country, Asian, South Americans. Just they less work. They just grew up in those environments. Even if they grew up there for 10 years, they still have that energy, the feminine energy that you die for, right? So in terms of women, selection of women, that could help. Travel and work remote a month here and there, a few weeks here and there. No matter what job you work right now, you can always ask like, hey, can I take a 2 weeks vacation? I'm gonna work on that, but on remote, maybe go to Hawaii, go to South America somewhere. So you can have the opportunity to meet the women, but also get your life a little bit more adventurous. It's not drying into going to the motion. So that's that in terms of women and dating, and what you can do as a man. So there's activities that help you retain your masculinity, like sport, something a little more like violence or like physical, especially team sport, things like basketball, football, soccer, and or like boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, like those things that keep you masculine because you have to be aggressive in those environments. It's a control aggressive, which is very good for men in general. So that's keep your masculinity alive because masculinity around you is dying. So you need something to keep it alive, to feed it, to keep it alive, to keep the fire going. So that's help. Not only so, like any sport, if you had to have some sort of depression, anxiety style sport, if you want to kill yourself, go play some sport before you like make any decision because compared to normal people, athlete is almost have 0% of people with depression and anxiety compared to the amount of normal people. So if you have depression or want to kill yourself, just play a sport in like try some competitions for even at the amateur level. Not only so, you also have the camaraderie and the brotherhood with other men in the team sport, and that fuel the masculinity as well. Because men supposed to be in group. I think the way of man is the way of the gang. When we're in the book, the way of man, I mentioned that. I forgot Jack Donovan. Yes. No, but right now people are so divided. Men live by themselves, just go to work by themselves, go home by themselves, watching porn video game. Like you don't have the brotherhood. That's why these keep your your masculinity alive. So sport, brotherhood, camaraderie, hang out with other men, those activities. Also things like dancing. It doesn't matter, swing dance, salsa, bachata, tangos, any kind of dance, because in these dance, the leads are the man, the follower are the women. So you get to lead. You have to get to be a man in this scenario. And the difficult thing is you have to learn the basic. With follower, they can just jump in and follow, even though they don't know anything, or they can be bad at it. Guy, we still be happy to dance with them. But if you're a lead, you have to know the basic at least, because you're leading the dance, so you have to know the basic. Which this is how this it reflects the reality of a man versus a woman, right? So you need to know something, otherwise people won't dance with you. So take some lesson, do some basic thing, but not only you get to lead and follow, you get to enjoy the femininity closer to you, and like the girl follow you as how they supposed to do. But it's not in the West, so yes, that would help so much. The activity will keep you sane. And the final thing I would just say, move. Move to a better place. Move to a place of worth it. Right now, with all inflation, you ask yourself, why am I staying here? Why am I working and paying so much and don't have much saving at the end of the day? What all this for? I don't get the femininity. I don't get the saving. Masculinity being attacked. If I look at girls, they can call the police and say you try to rape her. It's just very, very strange. And also ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing here? Like, what's holding you back? If there a reason to keep doing what you're doing or not. So there's so much more better places around the world that you can go and have a much better experience, not just with women in general, but better life as well. So why are you staying? Right? But I know not everyone can move or want to move. So these things that I listed out should help you somewhat. And that's what I'm doing. I'm pretty much doing this podcast to remind myself of this is what I need to do in the meantime to keep myself sane. Yep, so that's everything I came up with. If you have anything more that you think could help, comment below. Join the Discord channel. Everyone helping each other out. And yeah, I need to figure out a lot of things. But in the meantime, just keep going out, keep hustling, and keep grabbing life by the horns. So, ta-da.